All right, let's see if that works. That worked. I don't understand why it's being like this. This time the link worked. Hi, I'm Thousand Eyes. That's TDS. Um, for some reason our sound wasn't coming through. It is game 2 of the night with Mythic Creative and Apex in here. Unfortunately, we did miss game 1. Teams did start earlier than the time that we were told they were going to start, so we did end up missing that. But we are in for game 2. Mythic is up 1-0 right now, and we're going to be seeing a pretty similar draft so far. Game 1, same bands, and Maokai first pick responded to with the Zaya Rakan. This time Zaya Rakan not going to be picked up. It is the Sejuani and the Sivir. And I am excited now, as I can say this again. And TDS, are you excited? Password doesn't let you in. Interesting. That's funny. Should be the same password. Is just. Oh, sorry. It is just. Sorry. I lied to you. I gave you the wrong password. That is my bad entirely, actually. I'm panicking trying to just get this right, man. Let me go ahead. Go for it.
Okay, I'm in, so I can now begin talking about how tonight we have a lot of things happening, but it doesn't matter because we have a game of League of Legends. And as long as we can get in, which we probably should be getting in soon enough, we're going to be completely fine. And a lot of champions that we don't get the opportunity to see sometimes. It's going to be a really fun game in my eyes. I already like the Aatrox, I already like the Olaf, like the Sivir as well. So hope for a lot of chaos and kills, hopefully.
Absolutely, as I am gonna be trying to put together the announcement ping. So go ahead and take it over real quick sec.
Yeah, that's all good. That works perfectly. In the meanwhile, like we just can quickly go over a bit of the draft with pretty straightforward champions that are right now in the meta. You see them in both pro play and really high tier level of play with the Maokai, the Sejuani, six as well, which didn't get banned, means that a champion that now getting picked here, typically in the bot lane. But since the Saya comes through, you now will be seeing the six in the mid lane, one special from APA right now in the LCS that does like to go a lot for the champion. Great weight clear, great damage. The main thing that you have to be worried about here, though, is the fact that it's going against a LeBlanc. A lot of killing potential, not a lot of mobility for the six, and that means that as long as you're able to get on top of the champion with Sejuani or LeBlanc, trying to lock him down and killing him is not that difficult to accomplish. It's all going to be on how much damage can the six put down from a safe distance without getting picked up out of position. But the rest of the comp from the side of Mythic over on the blue side is really straightforward, trying to go forward, kill the important targets, and outlast the side of Apex, because realistically, Apex for really long fights has a lot of value thanks to the Sivir and the Olaf as well.
Definitely, and we'll see our teams get underway in just a moment. Here, we do have an AFK mid laner, is what I'm being told, but things should be just starting out here in a quick moment, and I don't know. I'm interested because tonight we have higher level play than we usually do. Um, Most of the time, we are seeing something along the lines of like gold, plat level play. We have high diamond and master level players in this, and this is the start
Yeah.
of the season. So these are people who are already at this point and probably going to climb higher as the season goes on. So this should be a night of really quality League of Legends.
Quality games, hopefully better than maybe some of the games that we've seen so far in some of the LCS matches. Hopefully, obviously, not going to say that it's going to be that high level, but for style, this is one of those matches that you want to keep your eyes out because these are teams that we may as well be seeing later on in the season as well. Like you're pointing out, really good players, really high skill level, and can go even higher than just the threshold that they have right now, which is really important to also keep our eyes out for.
We're gonna go over to the champ select scene, and I don't expect any shenanigans in terms of our drafts here. Hard to believe anything's gonna be flex. The only real, I would Apex. I would expect the jungler to be the Mordekaiser. I have seen a jungle Aatrox before. I don't have faith in the jungle Aatrox though.
True. I think Jungle Aatrox kind of came back for a really tiny bit with the pet introduction, but realistically, the champion was really affected long ago with some of the changes. So Jungle Aatrox more than likely not going to be the pick round for the very least. Later on, maybe if they change some things, could potentially be the thing that ends up happening. But as of now, it's more than likely Jungle Aatrox, top lane Aatrox, and the Jungle Maokai. Much more logical.
Yeah. Yeah, and that will be the Olaf. Wait, hang on. Okay, hang on. And somewhere along the line, it did get to be an Olaf instead of I think the Jace. I think of it. I don't know if we mentioned that because I was too busy. I was too deep in the sauce. So that is an Olaf. Sorry,
Yeah, I think it was
I'm
picked
looking at the wrong
last.
draft. I'm an idiot. That's why. That's why
It
I'm
was
all
picked
messed up.
last into the Aatrox as the counter pick going
This
into
is
it,
why
which
I'm a mess, man.
you could technically argue though quickly that the Olaf could be the jungle and the Sejuani into the top lane as well, just to try and answer the Aatrox. But I think the Olaf works out better. The flex potential though, always fun to have it in your pocket just in case.
Yeah, I am. I am definitely kind of interested. This is also just interesting to see the LeBlanc picked here. Just after all of the changes to LeBlanc and you know, Static Shiv being a thing for so long, and that kind of brought LeBlanc back into the meta a little bit. Now,
Yeah.
probably not going to be seeing the same build, but it's interesting to see that LeBlanc has stuck around. People have kind of realized, oh, this champion's actually solid. This is a playable champion regardless of that build. And that's going to get picked up there. I'd expect probably, I'm not going to be surprised to see a Static Shiv on the Sivir, though.
Overall, I think it's more than likely that we see either champion opting into the static ship. I still think LeBlanc with the static ship is not completely bad because it does help you out with the fact that your wave clear gets that much better. You don't have to utilize everything in your kit to try and just clear a wave. Even if it does not one shot minions anymore, you can just press the auto attack plus the W and you one shot the wave anyway, so you don't have to expend any more resources into the wave in that regard. But the Sivir into the static ship has been popping up quite a lot. I like more the Kraken Slayer version still of the Sivir because of the damage. But this particular game, when there's a lot of potential siege and wave clear as well on the other side, certainly the static shift can benefit the Sivir quite a bit. And then it also does put you in a spot where you can later on take it out and itemize for straight up damage as well.
Definitely. As I like these drafts. I think also Ziggs has just been a really strong flex pick as well.
Yeah.
And, so obviously they picked it with the Xayah and the Ziggs at the same time, so not really going to be expecting Ziggs to go anywhere else. But it's just a powerful pick that people have kind of been sleeping on, and it has its capability to just shove LeBlanc in, make it really difficult to deal with her, and then just counteract anything that she's trying to do by pushing whenever she tries to roam. So it makes LeBlanc's roams really important and makes her have to get something out of them, or she loses a lot. It is very easy to lose a tower early. You see LeBlanc roam, if there's a Rift Herald taken by that Maokai, they pop that mid. They have Ziggs W to pop it as well to just ignore the defenses from the tower plates. You could get a lot of extra gold put into this Ziggs that doesn't happen on any other champion.
Exactly. The main risk that I can see with the six is obviously the fact that he's not that mobile. So
Yeah.
trying to kill him is actually really easy. If you're able to bring the Sejuani into LeBlanc, even with the Rel as well, you can really pump it onto him. But realistically, like you're pointing out, easy wave clear on the six, a lot of early damage as well. And importantly, LeBlanc is going to have a hard time trying to answer back onto some of this push. It's important to see how much does the 2v2 play out in the mid lane because you want to have the LeBlanc be able to roam freely and try and impact the map as much as possible. But if the Six and the Maokai are able to stop her from even moving around the map, even if she's there, taking the turret is not that difficult for the Six. So I would argue that there needs to be a lot of focus around this mid lane just to try and help the LeBlanc be able to be free of the lane in itself.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to see how that's all going to work out because we're going to take a quick break as we get ready for our first streamed game of the night, but the second game of the series. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back after this. And welcome back, everybody. We are into the second game of this series as we're seeing a little bit of an invade from Apex. Moving in, just clearing out wards, trying to interrupt this Maokai clear as much as they can.
In a good manner. They did get a ward as well, so I think that they think they cleared one of the wards that was laid down by the Maokai. So good for them, denying vision and also going in still.
I mean, there's no fear to be had. You can see counter vision by the Alistar over on that bottom side as well. So whatever vision they're picking up is going to be matched.
Maybe they want to kill Triups. Okay, no, they are running away. At the very least, there was an attempt. Didn't net them a first blood, but they got vision mirrored to the one over on the bot side of the other side of the map. And both teams are probably going to know where each jungler is starting.
Yeah, as we're going to see Sejuani clearly starting on that bot side. Maokai's starting on the Raptors. Gonna pick those up easily and move down towards the rest of that bottom side there. And this is interesting because it does give the opportunity for a quick gank from Maokai. Just clears the bot side, goes for a quick gank, moves down, and then backs, goes back to his clear. Or you can just continue to clear onwards here. So we'll see if Mythic want to try and make something happen here once the Alistar hits that level 2.
Really like to see an early gank from the Maokai, but I really would like to see that over on the top side. I feel like in the bot lane it's kind of difficult to achieve because of how like counterable you can make it out to be with the Rel. That being said, it looks like the Maokai is kind of hovering towards the bot side potential there, clearing the Crocs in the process, and possibly going to try and go there as quickly as possible. But the wave is not really helping with that.
Yeah, it does not seem like we're going to see Mythic try to contest on a bot side gank here. Just going to shove in. Sivir does not have the level of wave clear that the Xayah does early on, at least. Takes a little bit of levels for Sivir's damage to do work with the Ricochet. Meanwhile, though, we have a very interesting invade here as we're seeing Frajo move into... I'm going to butcher these names. I'm going to be honest. So, some of them are... We've seen a lot of these players speaking French in the lobby. Oh. And I can imagine that I just do not speak. As QCL City moving around, trying to avoid this, calling for help. Yeah, Alistar already on the move up here as the back has come through, as we're seeing this Sejuani having to run away, stalling out as much time as possible, but almost for sure going to be dead. It looks like Triops is going to try and confirm the kill. He cliff on the side, but there is nowhere for Lavrajo to get anywhere, and that is going to be a dead Sejuani. First blood over to Triops.
Yeah, trying to play it out so that you can try and get the execute instead of giving the first blood out. But the timing really was way too late for trying to accomplish it. Great first blood. Great read, I think, by QCL City, because waited out before going immediately into the blue buff. Didn't just walk in to take the blue buff, but instead waited, and that just made it so that the Sejuani kind of baited herself in. Really nice play, really nice setup, and that's the first blood for an Aatrox that may have struggled much more onto the Zola.
Yeah, and you know, like you said too, just Heathcliff moving up really early. It seemed like they were really prepared for this. They expected something along those lines, and it was just in time with the back for Frozen. Alistar doesn't have gold, don't need back. Why would you stay? Or sorry, why would you just stay there and do nothing? Why would you back? Go up and help your jungler. And while there was no assist, the pressure was still important. Cliff also moving up here and just going to check on that blue buff area as they do see Lavrajo going around.
Paradox they did kind of steal their jungler's color crab, but also took it away from the Sejuani. So a small victory in that sense to try and set themselves up ahead of the enemy bot lane. Even though there's no call on the Xayah, setting herself a really nice lead. And with this wave pushing in, this may set up for the gank that we kind of expected at level 2 from QCL City, but now the wave is getting towards them, they can actually play around that.
Yeah. So we're going to see a little bit of movement here as we do see QCL City moving around in this vicinity. The sweeper's going to catch out that ward. If Apex try to contest this, they may end up paying for it. Frozen taking a lot of damage, and Perry just not worried about it in the slightest.
Yeah, doesn't really care about the fact that a lot of damage did come through all the engage, but and also top something happening maybe with the Sejuani coming in.
Starting looking at it, we'll see. But bot lane's the more important one. Is Frozen having to flash away? Has the ignite on? Perry is deep in there to try and get it as well. The Ghost and the Flash not going to get the kill, though, as Frozen stays alive. And they're going to continue on to this Rel as there are two tanky boys trying to run Rel down. Stuns are good. The move speed is maybe going to be enough. A nice twisted advance and a headbutt backwards. They're just trying to keep Rel in place as long as possible because it doesn't matter if you don't do damage as long as you keep them around long enough. There's another twisted advance. We try to hit the Q, and QCL City gets the kill. Will die to the tower, though. Top lane, they don't even need the help from the gank. Dunk just runs down Triops and gets the kill.
Had to use both summoners in the top lane, but does get the solo kill, and this setup's really nice for Dunk. No teleport on Triops either, so that means that the Aatrox more than likely will lose a wave. But after what we saw in bot lane, I think that's a small sacrifice that you're willing to give up over as Triops for the advantage that you got in the bot side. It's a play down there, a couple of kills, summoners down on both bot laners from Apex, and setting your side already for success. It's almost always the kind of thing you want to see, but really love the gank from QCL City and the way that they played it out. Unlucky that he dies though.
Yeah, that's the one downside. But the bigger thing is that it goes on to the Rel of all things.
Exactly.
So not really the end of the world. You can see as far as gold does go, as far as items do go, we do have tier 2 boots across the board. It is just the slightly more costly boots, I guess, on the Rel. That's really, if that's your biggest opportunity that you're getting out of that, it's not really a huge win. What is a huge win, though, is getting that first dragon picked up by Apex.
And a really good individual one at that. The Hextech Dragon giving you that extra attack speed can be so good for the Sivir, for the Olaf as well. It does give you quite a bit of value. These trading patterns over in the top lane kind of bait you into thinking maybe someone is going to die really quickly. Dunk with ultimate though may end up turning into that soon enough.
Ooh, QCL City was looking for another gank bot, but they could not make it work. And there's a Blanc on the roam here.
Nothing much going on though, but this is important as well to point out, like you're saying, the LeBlanc moving around a bit, showing that she is finding value in the mid lane. She is finding the opportunity to move around. Oh wait.
Yeah, engage on the bot side. Heatcliff going in does not have that unbreakable will here, but meanwhile, top side, Aatrox is ulted, and the damage is hitting. The E
Dunk
for the dash, the flash for the damage, and just followed up. Triops comes with the return kill here.
Well, Triops didn't use flash in the previous play, and that turns into a flash opportunity here to get the solo kill. Played it out really nicely as well. Gets out of the range from the Olaf to not allow for the Ragnarok to get another opportunity to reset, and then goes back in to get the kill. Important slight advantage that he gets there to add on top of the lead that he already had. But now bot lane looking like a potential 3v2 Maokai backed. Nothing much.
Yeah, this may have just been more of a counter opportunity here that they were looking for. With the Maokai going back, not the end of the world. It looks like we are going to get that demonic embrace on the Maokai here based on the build. So not going to be as tanky, but we'll do a chunk more damage on those abilities.
Going to be quite a nice poke. Both Maokai saplings plus the 6 just throwing bombs out consistently. Going to stack up on the damage and certainly going to affect a couple of these champions. Oh, wait. Oh, they stop Triops.
Yeah, they do stop Triops, but that is the
Ragnarok is down.
Nature's Grasp going in. Yeah, no Ragnarok, so they're just gonna go in. The bops are hitting,
Wait.
and the Sejuani ult misses, but it doesn't matter. They do get the kill onto Triops. Both of the top laners are dead, and QCL City is not healthy for this fight. We'll use that Q to bop them away. Heatcliff's here to just make sure the jungler gets out. I don't know if you want to walk too much further up there, buddy. There is a slaughterhouse in the waiting. There's
He has ulti.
Yeah, it does have ulti. Mongola fam looked for something, but wasn't able to get it. It's just going to be a quick rotation into our first Rift Herald of the day. And considering where QCL City is in terms of health, I'd imagine this one's just going to be freely picked up here.
Really difficult for them to try and respond to it. Also looking at the minimap, 6 was covering bot lane, which means that he's going to be way too far for any potential fight. And also Aatrox is hovering towards the bot side with no teleport. So Very the only opportunity to actually contest for this Herald, going to just go into the hands of Apex, and this is a really good opportunity to try and get a big amount of gold back into their pockets, because right now they are not that far away in terms of kills, but in terms of plates, they've lost a lot of gold. And CS wise, they are losing really heavily in the bot lane.
Definitely. The Sivir has had a bit of a struggle here. And it makes sense a little bit. Alistar, unknown Sivir counter. You can spell
Yep.
shield the headbutt. You get pulverized. You can't really spell shield the pulverize if you're getting headbutt. So it's a lose-lose
You have to
situation.
take a choice between both. You cannot go for both.
I mean, you don't really have the choice. If you get hit by the headbutt, you're now CC'd and you can't
Is that
can't spell shield.
is that like the meme from the cow that it's like free choice and then both
Oh
things
yeah,
lead to the same path?
I mean, yeah, it's it's ironic that it is Sivir that is the cow in this situation. Triap's just gonna dash away here, and that's a bit of a failed engage there from Spy, who does burn the flash in that.
I like the attempt. At the very least, they were looking aggressive with no flash and triumphs. Was probably one of the better opportunities to try and look for that, but it was really easy for them to evade
I love
it
these
and head
headbutts,
clip.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Sivir ult. They're gonna go in. Triops gets ignited, but he does have the move speed with the ultimate to get away. So another failed engage, and this time ultimate used from the
Wait.
Sivir. Yep, they're just gonna pop that, and there we go. Ragnarok doesn't even matter, I don't think. Nope, Paradox
Woo!
almost goes down. Does have to flash away, stays alive. Triumphs in the bot side, though, trying to utilize the tower, trying to utilize the healing. Does not have the ultimate for the Omnivamp, and I don't think Triumphs is gonna get out of it alive. Will go down, and it is Perry who gets the kill, importantly.
It was a good attempt there by Tribes to try and evade it, but after escaping the initial attempt, I think that staying back, coming back to try and collect the wave, really bad decision there by Tribes, costs him his life. Not going to net them the turret here, though, for the side of Apex. Meanwhile, there's two turrets being collected up there by the side of Mythic.
That is a tier 2 taken down already. Fam now gonna run into Eat Cliff, doing a little bit of shopping, but that is a tanky Alistar. Does not matter.
Was a cute attempt there. Going to turn into nothing much for Bungala, and it's also going to be the opportunity. At the very least, it does net them the turret down there in the bot side.
Oh, whoa, you gotta watch where you're going, buddy. There is going to be the W used, and that has to be a flash now. So that's a little bit of just not paying attention to your surroundings. You knew they were up there, and unfortunately, it's going to cost them a flash. Perry gets out with the spell shield, though.
Yeah, betting too much on being able to run away with your distortions. But when you use both distortions, certainly going to be a bit more difficult to escape. And in the bot lane, we see the attempt at going into Perry, not going to have much success. Perry just spell shields and runs away. Overall, the map control is still in favor of the side of Mythic because of the amount of turrets that they did get in the process, while they were just able to respond with one in the bot side. But I like that they are gaining a good amount of gold for Apex in the back foot. Like, they are still getting good gold into the Sivir, and they are not allowing for Mythic to just run away with the game.
Absolutely, yeah. It is still a close game, and it's so I'm interested now because, like, nobody's run away with this game, and that's generally by the 15-minute mark. We usually see at least some sort of a lead, one way or the other, and seeing this game is really, I don't know. I'm excited for what this is going to mean.
Gives us a good opportunity to see some good fights later on, especially because it's going to be an Infernal Soul. Like, typically we see fights for bad dragons. That means that when it's a good soul like this one, we have to see good fights come through. And maybe a kill here onto Triumphs.
Triumphs might be, yeah, there is the flash engage and ult used, but the Sejuani ult misses again, and Apex Spy is going to go down tanking already, and Triumphs actually going to take a second with them. The TP used as well. That's 4 people to give 2 kills, 1 extra over to Triumphs.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I don't think the turret is worth the 2 deaths plus the teleport invested into trying to kill Triumphs up there in the top lane. And really well played by the Aatrox. Exactly, they are going to get more out of that play. There's no one to contest there. They may have stopped the push in the mid lane, but the bot losing out on those 2 kills and the bot lane turret, it's completely not worth.
Yeah, and there is the Ziggs picking up that one on that kill. So power going in favor here of the Ziggs.
No.
Oh, QCL City might be in trouble. There's the
Blank.
Ignite, and I think might be going down. The health is
Oh,
very low, but does get away just barely. And now Apex Mongalafam, you got to run, buddy. Here is the cavalry to try and help you out. Still chasing here. The Zigzall trying, but not going to hit.
He's
And
just still
QCL City does
okay,
go
he's dead.
down. Does eventually die to the tower. And now Frozen in a position to win this fight hard. Nobody is touching the Zaya. And it is the Sivir ult just to get away.
Able to escape just like that. Surprised that at the end Bungola fam was able to still get the kill into the Maokai. Yes, at the end does die. I think Alistar ignited the blank to try and collect the kill. But at the end, getting the kill onto the Maokai much more valuable than what ends up happening with the LeBlanc. Really good decision making there. And even though the rail also dies out there, they did blow the flash out of Tribes.
Oh my!
I really like that.
Just use the
Oh, Frozen may be dead though.
Tried to bait it out. Frozen does not have an ultimate, and yeah, it's just gonna get run down. I like the look. Unfortunately, the health was not there. Traps is gonna try to make something up here. That was a weird interaction, but that is gonna be Perry getting out alive, and that's 3 kills. And give it away in a situation where you absolutely did not have to lose that.
Exactly. Really weird decision making. Some of those situations nets them a couple of good kills. Paradox needs to be careful here. This LeBlanc, even if she's not opting into straight up damage just yet, she's going to soon enough as soon as she gets closer to that Morello to that Ludens from what I'm looking at. Right now, she still is kind of a scary, and Bungolafam has been playing really well with this LeBlanc so far.
Yeah, I'm just still surprised to see the static shiv. Like, it has been nerfed very hard. It has literally been given, like, you're not going to get the Night Harvester proc on it, which is I think why we're not seeing the Night Harvester being built.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I feel like they've done all that they can to remove this build. I don't know if it's still any good. So we're going to see the TP used. Now, objectives have definitely gone in favor of Apex this game. So this is really important. We want to see these neutral objectives start to go over to Mythic if they want to continue this lead that they have seemingly built for themselves. The Rift Herald's going to be used to try and counteract this. So this is the first dragon for Mythic in favor of 1 tower going down and definitely a second charge going to be hitting. Eclipse is now going in, and there's nobody around to help. The Unbreakable Will is going to be used just to stay alive there. And that second tower almost down there. I almost want to say that that's a win for Apex.
I would argue it is. They get the turret. They get the turret in the mid lane. The Rift Herald push really nicely, and the fact that they also make the side from Mythic have to move around so much. They do collect the dragons, so dragon stacking is going to be affected here. But trying to bring as much space as you can, that is a lot of damage into Bogmula fam. Trying to open up the map as much as possible for this LeBlanc and also the Olaf is something that you have to look into as Apex. So I think overall this was a win for them.
Definitely is. We're gonna get a little bit of scanner noise while we sit and wait for the game to unpause itself. For those who don't watch a lot of spectated games, this does happen during pauses. If you unpause, there is for some reason a bug that pauses the game again, and we're not exactly sure why. It has existed for a couple years now. I'd like Riot to fix this because it's a little weird to try and fill air while that's happening. But regardless, the game has started back up. We're going to see just a little bit of clearing here because we don't really have an objective coming up for another minute or so. And that's Baron, which taking Baron right at 20 minutes does not seem to be on the menu for either of these teams unless we see a little bit of funky, finagly fighting going on.
There has to be either way too much negligence around the objective, or you have someone that can take it really fast. And looking at both comps, I would argue there's no one that I would think can take Baron really fast in either team. So probably not going to be a 20-minute Baron. Could be a really good situation to try and set up for vision control, because one thing right now, and this comes off of the turret collection that happened in the previous play, is the fact that there is mid lane turret for Apex, whereas there's no mid lane turret for Mythic. Trying to keep control over the top side, particularly for Baron fights, when you have no mid lane turret, is a bit more difficult because you're more susceptible to just fall victim to a lot of the plays from flanks from Olaf or LeBlanc. So they have to be extra careful about how they try to go forward. trying to gain control over Baron buff.
Yeah, I like this. I like this itemization here. As we're seeing finally where the Mythic on QCL City picked up the Evan Shroud, and then
Yep.
you look at the cow, you look at Heathcliff. Has that Radiant Virtue there? So there's the healing that you're getting from that Alistar ult going in, keeping these frontline members healed up, and then at the same time you're getting that extra damage from the Maokai as well. So there's a lot of potential here for team fights to really pop off here. It is a very team fight focused composition, as you can see. And that's kind of scary here. If you're looking at a lot of people getting rooted up and then Alistar flying in, there's just so many extra stat bonuses that you're getting from these items.
And trying to buff up your carries is almost always going to be a good way to try and win any game. So I do
Yeah.
agree. I really like the itemization. I was thinking maybe the only adaptation that I can look into from one of these
Oh my
champions would have
goodness.
been that. Ooh,
Yeah, we have a little bit of an engage. Spy not getting the ult pull thanks to the flash from QCL City. Counters with the flash, and it's just going to be the disengage. Vangolafam having a good time against this Aatrox here.
going to be that difficult for the Aatrox to still keep himself alive. The engage attempt, though, not going to net them that much of an advantage. I like the fact that they are, though, looking for this sort of plays with the Sejuani and the Rel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just been a little unfortunate with these engages. They haven't been hitting. Spy has just not hit a really, really solid one. Lavrajo has missed a lot of ults. Not going to miss that one as QCL City might be getting picked out here. A nice pulverize from Heathcliff to stop that engage, and now it's trying to be turned back around as we can see this Sejuani going down immediately. Triops gets the kill, and that is the jungler down. Another engage there as there is that power pulverize. Oh my goodness, I messed up my words. Vangola now trying to get the kill on the Aatrox, but he's staying alive for so long, and that's all the time that they need. Frozen going deep under the tower, going to turn back around on Apex Spy. No! Parry walks too far forward and gets grabbed by the feathers. Apex Spy going to go down too, and that is a wipe there. Only losing Triops for 4, and that should be a Baron picked up for Mythic.
It's a perfect opportunity with no Smite app just yet. Obviously, it's going to come up soon enough, but this could be the perfect opportunity to try and collect the Baron.
Going in now, getting headbutt away, has to pop back immediately, and there is the Nature's Grasp. Another good Ziggs Q, and Vangolafam might be too low to try and contest this anymore. Still trying to peek around, and here comes Lavrajo trying to get into there, not going to get over the wall in time. And the Mythic Baron will commence.
They do get the Baron, and looking, yeah, no, not going to end up dying. The Blank was hovering just in case, but not going to be the death of the members from Mythic. That being said, there was a slight opportunity there for the Sejuani to get there because what is it called? The Alistar was looking to go over the wall to cancel. Gets canceled by the Baron buff. So there was a slight chance that
QCL City, no.
the
QCL City, no. Oh no, there's the whole team, and now they're going to move in, but the immediate twisted advance out, and that might be it. Another Sedge ult misses, and that's 2 people, 3 people dead immediately. That is a major win for Mythic, still chasing Parry down, trying to use that ultimate to get away as Triops just going to continue to run down, and Parry going to fall. It looked so good at the start, but an amazing twisted advance to get back to the team, and just immediately everybody wiped. Lavrajo missing out another ultimate on the Sejuani. I don't know if these glacial prisons are working out as Apex would have liked.
Smithy would be proud, though. They certainly would be smiling.
Man, I was trying to avoid that reference, man. Has he not had enough?
I had to throw in an Smithy burn over there. That being said, Mythic just pressed the accelerator at one point, and with the previous 2 fights, Baron buff, Dragon, turrets, a lot of gold into their pockets. They have so much value right now, and it's looking like a difficult opportunity to try and answer back. The only thing I can look forward to is the fact that they have this Sivir, that it's slowly but surely scaling, and Parry has been playing some of these fights really well. It's just that when the Sivir really can get towards ramping up, most of the members are dead, so he cannot really find a good angle, but that's the main opportunity for the side of Apex.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, Apex have decent wave clear, right? They have this Sivir who's going to continue to clear waves. The Quick Blades finished on the Sivir, so can just continually keep that W up for a long time.
Yep.
The LeBlanc also with the Ludens, just a little bit of extra wave clear alongside the Static Shiv. It's not going to be easy to push waves here. I think what really does need to happen is just team fights. And that is where we have seen Mythic succeed, right? We have seen Mythic win these fights and then push really heavily, or they win fights where the teams are split up and somebody like this Sigs or this Aatrox can just split push and take a lot of towers in the meantime. Vrajo is maybe caught out here with Dung. We're going to see QCL City go in onto Dunk. The Ragnarok is immediately popped, but that might be Paradox in trouble. Another Glacial Prison miss, and that's going to be the death of Dunk. So Vrajo just has to walk away from it. Triops, once again, like we just said, split pushing on this bot side. Now going in. Don't know if you want to tank that much of the tower there, buddy. You're in a little bit of trouble. We'll back away, but top side, they're going to continue to push. Heatcliff just going to tank the tower to make sure that they have the minions for this. Still has that unbreakable will, and that's the tower down immediately.
And I really like the fact that it's the Alistar that started tanking. Like you're pointing out, keep your minions alive. Realistically, your health bar can come back quite easily, and you also have the ultimate value there. That's a lot of damage that Spy is taking.
Yeah, and I mean, in contrast to what Von Golafam just did to Frozen, it was not much, right? And that's kind of the loss that you take when you go the Static Shift build on the LeBlanc. She does not have that one-shot factor that she would otherwise have. We're going to see this another inhibitor turret go down as we're continuing to move forward, trying to push in. Perry's still trying to clear out. Got a little bit of a DC. Unfortunate timing, but should be seeing Levrai get back into this game pretty shortly.
Of course, there's a pause, even though we were looking to try and open up more. But at the very least, look at that. The base is already open, about to be 3 inhibitors falling down in favor of Mythic. They have so much value, so much damage, and so much control already in their favor. Dragon, going to be maybe something to look into now that there's 2 on both sides, so Soulpoint going to be a potential fight we see in the future. But the main issue here for Apex is that if they opt into another fight and they lose out on it, that is game. The base is already kind of in tatters. So any fight that they lose, even if it's not that massive of a loss, they can still lose the game out because of that.
Yeah. We are in a little bit of from what I am understanding, we are going to be waiting a little bit on the pause. I'm not entirely certain, but based on the fact that I've been messaged and asked how long they're allowed to have on the pause, I think we might be waiting a quick sec.
We covered the time that we didn't on the first game with this.
Yeah, like they asked me how much time they have on the pause, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I just talk over the game. Like I don't know these rules.
There is a good amount of time. We just don't know which amount of time.
I want to say it's 5 minutes total, but that is also just based off of what other leagues run as well. I
kind of want to think that style is one of the more lenient ones in that sense.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, man. like how lenient are we talking? Or do we know that everybody does fun? Like, there's a lot of options here.
True. Let's say 10 minutes and hope for the best.
Yeah, well, they are continuing to speak in French, and I do not know what they are trying to say. So I can't even give you really updates on this. So this is unfortunate all around.
Should be soon enough.
And don't say that. Hope. We don't know. Don't lie to people.
It's all in the spirit of hoping that it's the case.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully it's not that much. And it's looking like someone reconnected. So
yeah, that is Lebrai, who was the initial disconnect. And I mean, let's just take a sec to talk about our oh man, they said they FF it. They're not ready by 20 minutes. We're at 25 on this pause. That's not a good look. But let's talk about the state of this game right now, right? Because we're seeing 2 inhibitors down, probably a third coming here, if I were to guess. What does this mean now for Apex? Like, how do they get back into this game? Because the fights have not been working. They've tried to pull off these picks, and everybody just seems to be able to get out of them at the very least with a bit of health left in them, if not a solid chunk, depending on how the fights have been going. Like, what do Apex really look to do here?
It's a really thin line between being able to win this game or not for Apex, and it really depends on parry. To me, like Sivir is the only champion that essentially outscales everyone from the side of Mythic, and then also the only one that can really deal a good amount of damage without having to straight up being in the face of every champion. Like thanks to Ricochet, you can ignore the three in the backline and technically still be able to deal damage to them. That being said, you have to have your team around you, and more times than less, we've seen fights where Bongo Fam really is not present that much. You have Dunk and Lebrejo trying to go a bit too far in with a spy, and then Sivir cannot really go into both sides of it. Like either
Mm,
you protect the Sivir and try and allow for her to deal damage, whilst also trying to stop them from reaching the Sivir, or you commit going in, and even if Sivir has to go in with you, at the very least, everyone is going in, but you cannot have that sort of divide, especially with your main damage dealer, because the other champions are just getting blown out of the water.
yeah, it's not looking great, right? Like things are definitely
Yep.
rough. And there's a couple of things to just kind of point out of why that. I don't want to harp on it too hard, but Lavraja has just had issues with the glacial prisons. They've been missing pretty heavily, and that's such an important skill on that champion that you kind of really warp team fights if that does not hit, and we have
Yep.
seen it kind of time and time again. But then on the other hand, like you do have this push build from this LeBlanc, and it's just going to affect your ability to team fight, right? Like the strong point of the static Shiv LeBlanc is actually getting to push the waves while damaging somebody, not trying to win team fights with this damage, because you're not going to be able to assassinate somebody. You're trying to win the long game essentially.
Pretty much, but the long game becomes longer if you're not in the best spot, right? Like typically you think about it being 30-35 minutes, but when you're this far down in the game with the base so destroyed, now that 30 to 35 minute expectation becomes 40 to 45 maybe. And will you be able to get to that point? That's the real question here for Apex, and one that I'm not sure if it's going to happen really.
We will have to see here is so as we've been told, uh they said if they are not playing, if they're not back in the game by 20 minutes, they would FF. I did ask. They have continued the game. So the game has not surrendered at the very least, because we are 3 minutes behind, remember. And they
Yep.
did tell us game is going to be playing. So we are just going to be waiting out the rest of this timer. And we will continue on from that point. And big shout outs to Triops for the communication. I appreciate that a lot, because it does make my job just that little bit easier.
Yep, exactly. The more we know what's happening, the easier it is to not just be out of the loop with some of the players. And since it's going to start soon enough, we should just be waiting for how it's going to end up going. Because I don't think the game is going to have much time anyway after we come back into it.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. It's up in the air. You never know, right? Like
I don't know. I do like to be the pessimist sometimes.
I have lost I have lost games where I have been more ahead than Mythic.
Fair
Granted,
enough.
I'm not this good at the game, but I have lost games that were more winnable with Mythic. So, and granted, like that's solo queue. That has that mental difference going on, but it's possible. You can absolutely kind of throw this again. On the flip side, like we've been saying, like Livraggio missing these ults has been really important. What happens if they hit an ult? Like that's actually a power point that they have not really had in a lot of these fights, and that can change where things are as we do start to see the R's coming in. So I believe we'll be getting underway pretty shortly. But that the Sejuani ult hits in one of these fights, it could be really big. They catch Ziggs out with it, could be an instant dead Ziggs, and that's one of your
True.
damage dealers just out the gate gone.
If they are able to kill someone like the Six, and that's also a point that maybe I didn't touch much on with the LeBlanc as well. LeBlanc can blow out these targets really quickly. This build doesn't maybe allow for that to be a thing just straightforwardly, but if the LeBlanc gets towards the third, fourth item mark, blowing out targets is much easier for her than we maybe expect. That's a flash on Spy though.
Yeah, and that's not a flash you
Ouch.
want to have down. The Rel does enjoy having that flash engage ability, whether it's the crash down or the remount, just to flip someone specifically over the shoulder. We enjoy our post pause. How you doing
We've
tonight,
had
TDS?
we've had three of these already tonight. It's been a good night. At the very least, some really good fights, and the game has been fun overall. Like it's not been a stump by Mythic until like the 20-minute mark. So it's been fun.
Yeah, it should be a pretty interesting way to end this because, I mean, I was half expecting the game to end with the DC, but we
True.
are going to continue it onwards. And granted, like we've said, this the, the towers have been taken down a decent chunk by Apex. It's not like they've just gotten rolled and they haven't gotten damage on towers at all, right? That mid tower very close to going down that could open up an inhibitor turret. And as the game gets later and later, one good fight, death timers are long, you have an opportunity to really break open the enemy base and get yourself a lot of gold and a lot of map pressure that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah, the more open the map is, the easier it is for you to try and just make plays happen.
Mm-hmm.
Works out better for champions like the Aatrox or LeBlanc that do like to find angles that are not covered. But in general, the more pressure you have, the easier it is to move around the map and to control a lot of the aspects of it. With the super minions pushing in each wave, collecting objectives also should be quite easy for the side of Mythic. So I'm not sure we're going to see any sort of answer coming in from Apex as of now.
Yeah. It's really just a fight for objectives, right? The
Yep.
Baron going to be starting up now, and it's hard, right? You might just have to end up giving this Baron because there's no world in which you're really capable of getting your waves pushed out. You have double supers in every single lane, and granted, you have wave clear, but it's still not really going to be enough to leave your lanes alone long enough to try and contest this Baron. So it does seem like it is just going to be picked up very easily by Mythic.
So one thing that I would like to see out of Apex, or would have loved to see while the Baron was going down, was them securing in a specific area of the map and trying to just pile on it while Mythic wasn't really sure about what's happening over there. And try and maybe get a surprise push play or something like that to get back an advantage. Because like we saw, they cannot contest objectives that easily. So they have to find alternative ways to try and get gold into their pockets.
Yeah, it's and double supers does give them more gold, right? Like it does
Yeah, Sivir is
mean
happy.
you do have solid money going into your pockets. That is a third Infernal Drake for Mythic, but importantly not the fourth one. So not the soul picked up. And that is really, really big. You would these early objectives that have been picked up by Apex have been very, very influential and at the very least keeping super important objectives from falling here. Nexus
Yeah,
Tower's still up. Oh,
imagine the
Apex.
Infernal Soul just going to someone like the Six. That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, yeah, it's scary, and it would maybe change where this game is going. World Ender is now going to get popped as we might see the end of the game now. Frozen doing so much damage onto LeBrajo, who does go down immediately.
Yep.
There's the Ragnarok trying to chase in. Frozen maybe going down. Featherstorm used, and that will be Olaf falling as well. QCL City going in now onto the Sivir, who's the only real damage dealer left. Perry falls in the double kill going to Paradox, and that's probably going to be it. Ziggs pushing these towers down. The Nexus is left, and it is just Spy to watch as it is going to be a 2-0 for Mythic.
Really good showcase from Mythic in this game. Really controlled, had a bit of issues here and there in some of the fights, but overall, when it push comes to shove, they found their fights and they played them up really, really well. Frozen had a really good game, barely missed position, find a lot of damage, and carries a couple of these fights really effectively. Huge fights, huge game, and really fun overall.
Yeah, a really interesting game because, like we said, back when we were kind of paused earlier, there was a really long time where this game was even, right?
Yeah.
Like it was just very back and forth. There was no real solid lead. I think it was just unfortunately mechanical mistakes that really cost a lot for Apex. Uh, Ultimates missing, people getting a little bit caught out here and there. Engages not hitting. How many times did we unfortunately see Rel and Sejuani kind of just not hit what they needed to hit? And those cooldowns being down in a fight really changed the game because you could see just Triops. That is, if you don't CC Aatrox, he has so much Omnivamp that he could just run through a team.
Well, that kind of happened in that one top lane dive, right? They
Yeah,
tried to go into the Aatrox, didn't find enough CC on time. Aatrox out heals them, and even though they take him down, it's a 2-for-1. So the trade really is not that worth in the grand scheme of things. And that happened multiple times where CC wasn't enough to control the Aatrox because of either they missed it or they didn't lay it down properly, and the Aatrox was just able to find multiple times value and heal into himself, and also space for the team to try and just get kills where they probably shouldn't have gotten them.
yeah, and great stuff from Mythic to really close that out and
Yeah.
take advantage of those opportunities. Right? There's teams where you see mistakes happen and then you don't really see anything come from it. But importantly, Mythic seeing those mistakes, understanding that opportunity, and taking advantage of it with the full force of their composition. And that will net them the 2-0. And that is going to be it for us then, as that is the end of the series. Congratulations to Mythic for their 2-0. And I mean, I don't have anything more TDS if you do.
No, the series was fun. I think we got to the at the very least to see a really fun game to end the night on, and congratulations to Mythic.
Absolutely. Well, with that, we're going to close out our show. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time.